Today's show is supported by Liberty Magic, Pittsburgh's premier speakeasy theater dedicated to the art of elevating magic. This time they are presenting David Williamson in Ridiculous, a family-friendly show where magic and comedy collide. David's signature magic is filled with jaw-dropping illusions and a very distinct sense of humor. Yes, he is a magician, but he's also been called a clown and even an anarchist. So get ready for a show with a lot of laughter. Ridiculous runs from April 2nd to May 3rd. Get your tickets at trustarts.org/magic before they disappear. This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Sophia, if you could have a rating platform for any Pittsburgh asset or type of thing, what would it be?
I guess this would be less rating and just more of yes or no, but historically the city has not been great with turning on its water fountains, so I need a map of which water fountains are on before, I try to go on a long walk or something.
I would like restaurants, which is not an innovative concept, and I know is county, not technically city. And they do have scores, but for some reason they won't let me see them in a way that I find useful. I like to see their health and hygiene scores, and I am not turned off personally by a C or a D. If the food is delicious, I will be there anyway.
I usually like to see the rating get bumped up a little bit first, but I'm not opposed to going somewhere that has been even closed down as long as, they've been revisited and there is somebody saying, check, you're fixed for now.
Every Pittsburgh restaurant person hates that answer because they don't want their reviews to be like posted in the windows or like more publicly accessible. But I don't think I care. Like other cities have these, and I don't think it's like stopping anybody if the food is on point.
I agree.
I am with CityCast Pittsburgh producer Sophia Lowe, and today we're going to talk about our population. New numbers just dropped, and we're not doing bad, but we are still reckoning with things that happened 40 years ago. We've got some new music news, some bird news, and some ways to mark Trans Day of Visibility here in Pittsburgh today. So we will start with population. A few times a year, the U.S. Census Bureau crunches the numbers and tells everybody which regions are growing and which are declining, and how. There are a lot of ways to calculate this. But, Sophia, you've been here a few years. Where do you think we fall?
City population going down. I also think Allegheny population for the whole county is also slipping a little bit.
Okay, kind of incorrect. So this is why I think this is worth talking about.
That's what I've seen from the headlines, because I haven't dug into the numbers a ton because I'm scared of numbers.
Fair enough. And I'll try to keep them to like an appropriate level for y'all who are listening to this. It's hard to process numbers in audio form. I know it. But so the city was not actually crunched this time, but almost every headline I saw as this was popping late last week and over the weekend was talking about how the city has declined. That's not the case. That's not what they were looking at. They were
Do we
looking
know
at
if the city has gone up yet? Because the official census is only every 10 years. So
correct. Yes.
What's up with the city?
Okay. Census, first of all, census only happens officially every 10 years, as you said. And last time happened during the Trump presidency. And the administration then changed the way we calculate some things and how things were rolled out. And there were hella delays on the census. I think the data, most economists would say the data is still to be relied upon, but it did add a little asterisk to that year. Everything you see in moments like this are estimates, but they're important estimates, and they give you kind of like a vibe check for how things are going. When they release these reports, it can be by county, by region, by metro population, or by municipality, and that's when you get a sense of what Pittsburgh specifically is doing. But they mean different things, and so the one that just came out was from this past week. It was a 1-year regional snapshot ending in July 2025. So from summer 24 to summer 25, what happened in that past year? And it showed that Allegheny County shrunk just a little bit. But a few smaller counties around us did not. They grew. And I think how the numbers shifted is really interesting.
I'm going to guess Butler County went up because I feel like I always hear about like developments in Cranberry.
They get all the grocery stores.
Yeah, yeah. All of that. In terms of our other surrounding counties,
I put a little map in here for you so you could like easily glance, because I know it can be hard to remember all the surrounding counties.
Because we're in the middle and like they're like 5 or 6 surrounding us. Washington, I'm also going to guess grew just because it's also a suburby area. Honestly, I'm going to guess Butler, Washington, and Westmoreland all grew.
Okay. You got 2 out of 3. I'm actually impressed. I don't think of Washington County as being suburban at all, so I think that alone is fascinating.
Sure. I mean,
maybe they are. Yeah, maybe I'm giving them short shrift.
I don't know. I honestly haven't spent a ton of time there, so that was also just the very little I've seen of it.
I think of Western Pennsylvania sort of writ large, just like a ton of farmland and then like centers of industry peppered throughout. Again, I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah, I probably have driven through a couple of like the more developed areas.
Yeah. So we'll start with Allegheny County because we are the center of our own universe. Allegheny County is down 0.17%. And I think this is important. We are talking fractions of percents for every one of these places, which at most means like a few thousand people up or down in all of these areas. So like, it's not nothing, but in scope, like Allegheny County's population is 1.2 million people. So that 0.17 represents about 2,100 people that we lost over that 1 year period.
Okay. Not a huge dip, really.
No, not at all. You were correct about Butler. So they did go up, and the most of any of our like local counties. I thought it was interesting that Pitt's Center for Urban Research that like crunches all of this raw census data and gives us like a version we can read. They count 10 counties. So they acknowledge that our actual metro population is 8 counties, but they're like, yeah, but these other 2, they like kind of count. They're like Pittsburgh cousins where they're like, you're not technically related to them, but like they come to everything anyway. So they're also included like with like asterisks for everything. Butler gained the most out of those 10 counties, so 0.44%.
Oh, so it's not even hitting 0.5%.
900 people. They got a net 900 people more.
I would guess more, truly.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
And that was out of a population of about 200,000. I think one of my main takeaways from looking at all of this is that some of our regional counties are both larger and smaller than I thought they were. Like, because I'm just so used to Pittsburgh specific numbers, 1.2 million people in the county, 300,000 people in the city. And because our numbers don't change that much, that stays true pretty much. But some of these places are bigger than I thought. Like Butler County is 200,000 people. Washington County, which also grew just a little bit, has about 210,000 people. I don't know. They're bigger than I thought. Beaver also went up, Beaver County, 166,000 people-ish. Their growth was 0.16%.
I would have guessed that Butler had more people than Washington. So what I'm learning is I also have no idea how many people live here.
Yeah. The next biggest to us is Westmoreland County, about 350,000 people. But their population went down, just like ours did.
Oh, okay.
So Westmoreland and Fayette County both lost about 0.33%, 0.33. So for both of them, it was, I think Westmoreland, that's about 1,100 people. For Fayette County, it's around 1,000. So again, we're into like the margins here.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's Lawrence County and then Indiana and Greene that get grandfathered in. They all went down between, let's see, Lawrence is 0.21% down. Greene had the biggest spike down, but 0.75%. Like that's 250 people.
250 people, that truly is a handful. Do we have a sense of why people are leaving and why counties are shrinking? Like, are they just going to the counties that are growing? Or I know, at least in like Allegheny County's case, a lot of our new people have been immigrants. And I get why right now with Trump and ICE everywhere and immigration crackdowns, like it is not the time to be moving here.
Yeah. And I want to go through like kind of the why piece. But to your point about immigrants being like such a huge part of this, most of the people that move to Western Pennsylvania from other countries, about 85% of them are coming to Allegheny County. Like if they're coming anywhere in our region, they're mostly hitting Allegheny and within that, mostly hitting Pittsburgh.
Right.
But let's talk about the why. So, friend of the podcast, Chris Bream, he is sort of the mastermind there over at the University of Pittsburgh Center for Urban Research.
People on Reddit know him by name, and he's an economist.
Yes.
So you know that he's got takes people want to listen to.
He's just bloody brilliant. But he's talked to us several times about our population numbers and what it means. And I think I want to underscore something he shared at this point 3 years ago, because I think it helps you understand everything else that explains the why. So here is Bream talking about one very big piece of Pittsburgh's somewhat recent past that you just cannot overlook.
We're sort of past the decline of the steel industry, right? There are very few steel jobs left in the region, but we are not past the demographic impact of so many people who left here in the early 80s, because it was very concentrated. It was very much folks who were in their early 20s. They took with them their families, and they took with them their future families. And so really the region right now is suffering from really, you can almost think, a second generation impact of the grandchildren of folks who might be here having kids, having families, are really living elsewhere. And so in the near term, it's just not going to be a lot of growth.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. Well, obviously I wasn't around, but I guess in my view, I know a lot of people in their early 20s, but
now,
we're
a lot of people in their early
exactly.
20s now, but it's all those people that were in their early 20s in the early 80s that that's the missing piece of Pittsburgh. So when we talk about boomerangs, we tease our executive producer, Mallory Falk, for being a boomerang, which I think in many ways is a superpower in this town, having grown up here and all the drama, but then you leave, you get experience, then you come back and how other places do things. It is such a cool thing, but that's the piece I think is interesting. You don't have so many boomerangs from older generations. You have them from millennials because they still experience the recession and things like that. But the Gen Xers and even some of the late boomers, the latchkey segment of the population, it just so fundamentally shifted how Pittsburgh's populations work.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Chris Bream.
So keep what he's saying there in mind when we talk about the why behind the current numbers. So there's 3 things that they study. Number 1 is natural change. So the Pittsburgh region has the largest natural population decline in the whole country, at least compared to other metro areas. So more people die here than are born. That means that's the natural part of it.
Yes, we do have an older population.
Yes. And again, that's because we lost a huge chunk of Gen Xers and the future families part. I think that's just so important to keep in the back of your head. Interestingly, St. Louis and Cleveland are the next oldest.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I would have guessed.
Something we have in common with Cleveland then.
Domestic migration is number 2. So this is when people from other cities move to Pittsburgh, when Pittsburghers move away. For folks coming in, this is actually up region-wide. We have a net plus for this. So Allegheny and Indiana counties showed tiny declines, people leaving Pittsburgh to go to other cities. But as a region, more people are coming here than in the recent past, which I think is sort of cool, but could also be part of that thing that we complain about sometimes on the show where people from more expensive cities are coming in and snatching up all the good stuff.
They see the headlines, Pittsburgh, oh so affordable.
So affordable.
And it's, very debatable whether that's true. If you're coming from DC, New York City, yes, maybe. But if you were born and raised here, maybe not so much.
Yeah. So it's cool to be desirable, but it's a double-edged sword. And then number 3 is international migration. So still up, actually. People are still coming to the Pittsburgh region and to the U.S. at large, but the numbers have slowed so much just in that period from mid-2024 to mid-2025. I truly can't imagine what this number is going to look like a year from now.
Yeah, I think that might go...
A lot down?
Yeah.
A lot down.
Yeah.
So just to give you some numbers to play with in your head, before this period, for years, we were seeing a range of 6,000 to 10,000 people moving to the Pittsburgh metropolitan area per year from other countries. That this last time they measured it, it was less than 3,000. So on our low years, cut in half. On our high years, cut to a third. What do we imagine this is going to change between 2025 and 2026 once they measure that?
Well, tune in next year to find out.
Yeah, To your point about immigration, there is a Post-Gazette story up right now that places the blame squarely on U.S. immigration policy and ICE actions. They went a little further than some of this data did, at least the in brief version that I was reading, and found that immigration declined or stayed flat in all 67 counties across Pennsylvania, including Philadelphia during this 1 year period. They did grow a teeny bit, but it's so tiny. So like, go Philly. But also it wasn't that much better than anybody else.
Right. But I guess bigger picture, is this necessarily a bad thing? I mean, obviously, I want people to feel safe coming here. The ICE raid portion, definitely bad. But I know Bream's also talked about that, a city population staying the same isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, we always think about growth, like what skyscrapers are going up in different cities and all of that stuff. But like, do we need that here?
The way he talked about it is you need to acknowledge the truth of the numbers and the realistic picture that's here and not try to plan for a future that can never happen. And I think I've experienced this too. Like I went back and listened to that episode we did 3 years ago. We'll put the link to it in our show notes so you can kind of get a sense of the picture then, because almost everything he said is still relevant today. But I feel like there's so many little towns here in Western PA that truly were once thriving, busy centers of industry because they were along our rivers or they were part of the steel industry. And sometimes their leaders, in this, the year of our Lord, we'll talk about them as if it is possible to recapture the glory days of the mid-1960s. And that just ain't going to happen. It isn't. And that's where Bream talks about just having a moment with oneself. And even if you have a city like Pittsburgh to be in charge of, a county like Allegheny County to be in charge of, you just need to be thinking about who we actually are and considering what the challenges are in this moment. Like, he cited this really funny ad campaign that ended up not happening, but it was supposed to happen from the mid-90s, where it was I forget now what the character was, but they were supposed to be challenging college students to not leave. And he was like, that was never happening. That was a waste of money. They didn't waste it, it turns out. But if they had, it wouldn't have been a good thing, because that was never our challenge. Our challenge is that we don't have enough young people moving here and we don't have enough immigrants coming here. So how do you address that in real time? I'll give him the last word on it.
If you're planning for a future growth that isn't going to happen, you're probably spending the wrong money, you're making the wrong plans. You want to plan for the future that really is most realistic. And I think that is the best path to having a good quality life for the folks who live, your residents, your constituents.
Okay, that good quality piece. Tell us about the places who are growing. What do they I'm curious. I just want to know what they are so I can think about maybe what they have that Pittsburgh doesn't, or Allegheny County.
So the data that I was looking at does not explain their why with as much depth as it's explaining Pittsburgh's why. However, if you want to draw your own conclusions, the cities that are growing the fastest include Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, and Phoenix.
They have better weather than us. That was the first thing that popped in my head.
They're so hot.
I mean,
we at least have 4 seasons.
Yes, I don't like the heat, but I get some people like the sun.
And the other places that are declining at a similar rate to us are LA, San Diego, and Miami.
Oh, also warm places, but Miami, bad for climate change.
I mean, so is Houston and Dallas. It's, once again, so hot.
Conclusion, confused.
CityCast Pittsburgh is brought to you today by Allegheny County. The county is recruiting poll workers, such an important job for the May 19th primary election. Poll workers, also called election officers, help run voting locations, and they earn money, $150 to $175 for the day, plus paid training before Election Day. Training can be in person or online, and new poll workers must complete it before working on Election Day. To serve, you must be a registered voter here in Allegheny County and be able to work the full day on May 19th. Poll workers play an important role in ensuring a smooth, fair election, and they gain valuable experience interacting with voters and managing the election process. If you're interested in earning a little extra money and supporting your community, apply online at AlleghenyVotes.com. Learn more and submit your application at AlleghenyVotes.com today.
Today's show is supported by Quantum Theater. We appreciate a good nem-nose here at CityCast Pittsburgh. And if you enjoy a look behind the scenes, you're not going to want to miss the new comedy 10 out of 12. The play is all about the technical rehearsal that happens before a play's opening night. And the audience will get a glimpse of how lighting and sound and scenery and special effects all come together and the chaos that can come along the way. And Quantum is really taking this experience to the next level. It's really what they're known for. As an audience member, you are going to wear a headset. So one of the staples of a stage manager, which means you get to listen in on all the backstage drama in addition to the actors as they're doing their thing on stage. 10 out of 12 is written by Anne Washburn, directed by Andrew William Smith, and it's staged in the Mellon Institute's gorgeous Art Deco Theater. The show runs from April 3rd through the 26th. Learn more and purchase tickets at quantumtheater.com/10-12.
All right, y'all, before we move on, we just wanted to remind you again about 412 Day. It's coming up on April 12th. It's an area code day. We're making it a holiday. We're making this a thing.
Anything can be a holiday, and celebrating Pittsburgh, absolutely worth making up a holiday for that. We will be at Southern Tier Brewing on the North Shore from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. doing all sorts of fun stuff. We even have a CityCast beer. I think that part is so cool. It's going to be a family-friendly event, dog-friendly. There's going to be music, vendor market. So come shop local.
Yeah. Shop local. Come talk to us. Get some merch. If you are already a member of CityCast Pittsburgh, we will have some nice things for Yinz. If you become a member of CityCast Pittsburgh while you are there, you will also get some nice stuff.
Yes. And the event is totally free to enter. So it's going to be a super fun day to share our love for Pittsburgh. And speaking of things we love about Pittsburgh, we are still running our Instagram giveaway. We're in the final stretches. So there's another day or two where you can go to our Instagram account. There's a specific post to comment on. We'll have the link in the show notes for that as well. Just like it and tell us what you love about Pittsburgh, and you will be entered in our raffle to win $1,000. Woohoo!
A friend of mine told me that they were waiting because they needed to think about a thing to say was their favorite. And I'm like, will you please not skip your chance at $1,000? I can't win it. But this person I was talking to, they could. Anyone can win this as long as you don't work here.
Yeah.
Just tell me a
also
thing.
Have been commenting multiple things. I don't think we're being that strict about the rules. It can be a favorite thing.
Favorite.
Yeah.
Not the favorite, not your number with it. Don't overthink it. Just tell us a thing you love about living in the city of Pittsburgh, and give multiple comments if you want. But we're going to pull the winner of that super soon. It'll be this week. So get in there if you want to. We love giving away free stuff, and we're excited to give away $1,000 to somebody coming up here soon.
Absolutely. Do not wait.
So we'll move on. We want to talk about Trans Day of Visibility. It is happening today, and it's an opportunity to uplift and celebrate our trans community. We wanted to share some ways to mark the occasion, but also just a bit more intel that we got about what's been happening at UPMC and some care providers here locally.
Yes. So UPMC, we all know it here in Pittsburgh. It's the largest employer and largest healthcare company in Pennsylvania. And in case you missed it, last summer, the system voluntarily ended gender-affirming care services for patients under 19. And this was after one of Trump's executive orders. And then separately from that, the Trump administration also asked for minors' medical records as well, like trans minors who had been going to UPMC for care, and families actually fought that in court and won. So small win there. It's still something to celebrate. And we actually talked to one of the lawyers representing the patients and families. We'll have the link in the show notes to that episode if you missed it. But still, UPMC has not reinstated care, and other clinics have also paused care for minors. And that includes Penn State Health, and then a smaller clinic here in Pittsburgh, Central Outreach Wellness Center.
Yeah. Executive producer Mallory Falk, she was the one who talked to the lawyer. And then she also connected with the Post-Gazette's health reporter, Hannah Webster, recently about where teens have been going for care since UPMC and other places made this decision.
President Trump takes office, and one of the first things he does is issue this executive order that basically threatens federal funding for hospitals and clinics and other providers that offer gender-affirming care to minors. Tell me more about how we get from that executive order to UPMC ending most forms of gender-affirming care for young people?
I think that the flurry of executive orders, it freaked everyone out, right? It freaked out journalists, it freaked out citizens, it freaked out hospital systems. A lot of clinics responded. I was talking to a source who runs like a telemedicine clinic, and they used the word overcomplied, which I thought was an interesting word to use. Sort of out of fear, there are places who are, quote, overcomplying because they worry about, criminal prosecution. They worry about getting their funding taken away. And for a lot of these big hospital systems or these clinics, it's millions of dollars that, they use to treat all patients. And so when I had talked to UPMC last summer, and they sent me a statement, and, it was essentially like the vibe was our hands are tied. So UPMC didn't make the decision officially until end of June, early July. We have some reports that they quietly stopped offering care to new patients in around March, but that existing patients were sort of grandfathered in. So it wasn't immediate, but I'm sure that there were lawyers who were reviewing, what should we do? And so I would say around that time is when a lot of these decisions started to be made, like 6 months in after the executive order.
Let's talk about the consequences of actually ending this kind of treatment, because it didn't just mean that like new patients couldn't start receiving this care. Patients who were in the midst of this care had their medication tapered off or had to stop hormone treatment. What are the consequences of that?
Yeah, that's a great question because this is pretty unprecedented. We already don't have a ton of data about this, but we know that stopping care, if you are a trans girl or a trans woman and you're on estradiol and you stop that, there's some evidence that you can sort of be shot into menopause or have menopausal symptoms. So that would, of course, be bad and weird for, a 17-year-old to be feeling.
Menopausal, yeah.
Yeah. And then one of the sources who I spoke to said when their doctor told them about the news that they should expect suicidality and psychosis. And I think that's just because there's so much we don't know about hundreds, if not thousands of patients stopping hormones. There are physical effects as well as mental. So depression, anxiety returning. And then I also had a really lovely, very interesting conversation with a trans teen named Moss, who has a variety of chronic illnesses, POTS. He suspects he has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which deals with tissue connectivity and frequent joint dislocations. And testosterone was actually helping him a lot with his chronic pain. It was helping him with endometriosis. He claims it effectively cured his endometriosis, or at least his symptoms of endometriosis. And he had more stable energy levels while on testosterone. And then when he stopped taking testosterone, because of UPMC's ruling, he was having more frequent dislocations again in his shoulders. His fatigue came back. His chronic pain came back. Lightheaded and dizziness came back from POTS. And there's some evidence that shows that testosterone can be anti-inflammatory and can help with pain in some patients. And so I think it's really unprecedented. There's a lot that we don't know about the physical effects of stopping hormones, but we know that being on them reduces suicidality, it improves anxiety, it improves depression, and it just improves the general well-being, of these patients. They tell me this is just our healthcare, it's not something different. It's not just like an SSRI. It's just, this is how we get our healthcare. And so there's a lot to be discovered about the consequences, I think.
Are there still any providers in Pittsburgh who are offering gender-affirming care to young people right now, or where else are young trans kids looking?
Yeah, so I actually found it quite interesting that some of the patterns that I was seeing reminded me of abortion care post-Roe. And so we have an uptick of online prescriptions, and we also see increased travel times for care. It doesn't stop the demand. It just changes the way that people are getting, the prescriptions or getting the care. And so I found, at least one online clinic that trans teens are able to access their medication through, and the clinic is able to send it to many different states because they don't receive federal funding. So that's been a really accessible option for a lot of patients. Moss, the teen that I discussed earlier, he found the clinic and he was able to resume his testosterone prescription. But like I said, travel times are increasing. So we have families who are going out of state lines. They're going to, Massachusetts, Maryland, maybe New York, to find clinics who are still offering this type of care. And, the costs, that option is not accessible to everyone. Plane tickets are expensive right now. They're going multiple times a year, flying or, driving long distances to these clinics, but it's life-saving. So they're going to do it if their kid needs it.
So if you want to hear more from Hannah, I can't recommend her piece for the Post-Gazette enough. Again, link in show notes. But it seems like, just, I guess, to recap, there are 3 main ways that people are getting care right now. So an online clinic, traveling out of state, which, Hannah and Mallory went into. But also Hannah said that she heard of people finding, like, for example, a psychiatrist that would essentially provide clandestine medication. So this is from her article. She said some, I think, patients visited psychiatrists before their offices open to avoid being seen. One source, quote, recalled visiting a psychiatrist clinic on an early morning this winter before the other patients arrived. The psychiatrist gave her enough pills to make it to her 19th birthday in June, end quote. Like, there's a lot to process there, and finding care in this way, like finding makeshift care, is really, really difficult for our friends and family. And we want to celebrate our trans community, but we also want to be thinking about what's happening to minors, because it's just such a difficult period.
Yeah. And like, this kind of medication is life-saving for kids. I mean, like, I'm glad there are still people in the area willing to provide pills, even if it's, maybe not in as traditional of a way. And I really hope to see some updates where, UPMC feels confident in reversing their decision, because so many people also travel, from out of state, out of the city to Children's because they have a reputation for good care.
And it doesn't have to be like this. Like the Philly hospital.
CHOP, yes.
Yeah, they didn't do this. The Children's Hospital there, they did not make this choice. Like UPMC could have gone another way.
But, we do want to celebrate the good stuff happening, and there are a lot of celebrations happening today.
So much good.
Yeah. So today's actually the grand opening and ribbon cutting for Stonewall Inn. So this is one of the many projects run by Sisters PGH. They are a Black and trans-led organization here in Pittsburgh. So Stonewall Inn is a drop-in space downtown. So there's going to be all sorts of resources for people. So that includes showers, laundry, food. You can also find resources for housing, get behavioral health support. Case management is going to be there to help connect you with other services. So really great to see this downtown. The grand opening is at 5 p.m. and it's followed by a drag benefit that did sell out, which great for them, sad for you if you don't have a ticket yet. But you can always make a separate donation, or you can buy a book from the White Whale. They're participating in the Trans Rights Readathon that ends today, March 31st. So you can buy any book by a trans author, non-binary, or two-spirit author, and the White Whale will donate $20 to Sisters PGH. So
for every single book.
Yes, I bought one. You can pick any book you want, but if you need ideas or you can't shop in person but still want to support in this way, White Whale has an account with bookshop.org, so you can check out that list and order online.
Yes, and White Whale is amazing also just at like fulfilling online orders. Every time we talk about them, I have to bring this up because they are faster than Amazon. Like, don't think you have to go to like one of these behemoth shopping places just for convenience. White Whale is on it. I am always impressed at how quickly they are able to get their stuff out.
Yeah, they've also got really great events, too. I don't know if there's been a metamorphosis recently, but that's sort of like a night for authors to read trans and queer poetry, short stories, like all sorts of fiction and nonfiction. I've heard some really great writing from that space. So something to look out for on their Instagram, too.
One of the 1,000 things I love about Pittsburgh, honest to God, is White Whale. They're amazing.
Mm-hmm. And another event is Makeup and Mocktails. They're doing a trans makeup edition. So this is at Inclusive Aesthetics in Beachview. So this is going to be like a demonstration and discussion led by Tevin. I hope I'm saying your name right. I know you as Cadence McQueen, a local drag queen. She's amazing. I've seen her performances a couple of times. Very high energy. But if you want to get tips from an expert, that's the place to go. This is a free event, but Inclusive Aesthetics is just asking for an RSVP. And then at the end of the night, there's also going to be 20% off select makeup products. So that's also super fun.
And finally, we have a few things to know to get you started with your week. This one has been tickling me since I saw it. It's been a few days now, but students at the University of Pittsburgh have created a way to share the judgments of their landlords in like the style of like the old school Rate My Professor.
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah. Rate Yinz Landlord. So also a very Pittsburgh focus. I know since this was student created, the core focus is in Oakland, but if you've got thoughts, it seems like anyone can make an account and review your landlord. Like I said, so anyone can submit a review. If you have an account with a PIT email, your review will go without a verification, but reviews with any other email addresses go through website admin. So just something to keep in mind if you submit your review. It might not pop up immediately, but I'm sure they're doing their best.
Yeah, and I feel like it's so important to have like some kind of resource that's not just word of mouth to be able to like warn people, like just because like, especially with young people in Oakland, it's so easy to think that a place is in good shape because you don't have the experience of like knocking around the floorboard. Like it's just, I feel like I'm still learning things well into my 30s about how to see at a glance that a house like might have a problem. I did not have any of that knowledge at 18, and it's so easy to get taken advantage of in a house where 2 to 8 people may be sharing space, and it's just constantly cycling. And if a landlord's not trying to keep that up, like it's really difficult. You just need to know. You need to know, are they going to come if the heat stops working in the middle of January?
Exactly. So this resource was created by the Renters First Ad Hoc Committee, which is one of the student government's task forces. I think it's so cool that they have like a renters group. My college, as far as I know, did not have this kind of thing.
No, we did not have that kind of stuff together. And we should have, because it was kind of a commuter campus in that way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. And, you know, people talked about how students often have those sort of like iffy living situations you mentioned. I was like scrolling through some of the complaints on the website, and long maintenance time tends to be a very common one, from everything for like no AC to like leaky stuff, and water damage gets bad fast. So landlords get on it.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand, I'm not a landlord apologist, I swear to God, but like I do understand that it can be difficult as a single person to upkeep property, but that's what property management places are for. Like a lot of, like if you're struggling as a like go find someone to help you, because you don't want to end up putting an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old in danger because you didn't get there fast enough. Like take care of your community.
Right. So I'm hoping to see this resource grow, and, you know, maybe landlords will take a scroll through and fix some things up or hire a management property, as you said.
I mean, we work at a space where we are constantly asking people to publicly review the stuff we do and email us if we got something wrong. So like, I have a lot of heart for this. Like, it can be difficult to look through a thing where, you know, people are only writing in if they have a criticism. But you got to do it. Like, you got to do it. That's how we learn. That's how we all grow. We'll move on. There's been a lot of bird news lately. Like I keep seeing headlines about various Western Pennsylvania bird things. Famously, not a huge fan of birds over here. So Sophia, this one's all you.
Yes, animal correspondent coming in. So the first piece of bird news, Richland has been named Pennsylvania's 100th bird town. So this is a program run by Birdtown, Pennsylvania, which is part of this larger group called the Bird City Network. So there's sort of like the overarching one, and then there's like local chapters, local towns. The whole idea.
The idea of a difference between a bird city and a bird town makes me laugh. It's like how Pittsburgh is a second-class city, you know?
Yeah. Well, go bird.
Oh no, don't you dare. Sophia.
Okay. Back
to the bird towns.
Bird towns. The whole idea is to create healthier environments for birds and other wildlife, and also, for humans. There's a big focus on conservation, and any municipality can become a bird town. There is an application process, and your town does need to form a committee. Just 3 people, though. So the idea, I think, is that this is very scalable. So you start at this green level, and then you can level up your bird town to silver or gold based on how many goals you complete. So that includes things like setting up a meadow with native plants, starting an initiative to keep cats inside so they're not, prowling around looking for bird snacks. You can build nest boxes for birds to live in, all different kinds of things. And just the idea is that anyone can get involved, even if you're a small town and don't have a ton of money. Do whatever project speaks to you.
It's gamifying the whole thing of being ecologically minded. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if that's what gets us there, I'm not opposed.
I feel like I've seen, I want to think it was Millvale, Swissvale area. They've done this already.
Yeah. I was looking at the map. There are a ton around our area. So Millvale and Swissvale, but also Wilkinsburg, Dormont, Mount Lebo, Crafton. So a lot of them, Pittsburgh, not on the list. So if anyone wants to become a bird town, let me know, I guess. I don't know.
Do you want to be part of that committee?
I don't know. I'm cat town. I mean, I care about our birds, obviously, but I think Pistachio would be upset at me.
I support all of my birding friends, of which Yinz are many. That was a big pandemic hobby that has not gone away. I love you all, but it's not for me. Anyway, more bird news.
Yes, the Osprey camera is back on. Obviously, we have all this love for birds. Everyone's becoming a bird town. No surprise, we also have bird cameras.
There are a lot of them. Yeah, there's the eagles and this. Is it Osprey? Osprey?
I think both are correct. I say not Offspray. Osprey.
I think I did it because of the backpack brand, Osprey. Anyway, they're in Moraine State Park.
Yes, and both the mom and dad I keep saying Osprey have returned to the nest. They usually lay their eggs around this time, and they'll hatch in late May, early June. So keep watching if you like baby birds.
Baby birds are cute. They're really cute.
There's actually also a baby eagle at the steel plant, so another bird webcam there. This has been around for a little bit. The birds are named Irvin because, Irvin Steel Plant and Stella. They have had their 9th baby eaglet, and Stella laid 3 eggs this season, so maybe 2 more are coming, crossing our fingers. Another camera I will be turned into.
Eaglet is an underrated word.
So don't like birds, but like the word eaglet.
Yeah, and I think I like baby birds. So we're really zeroing in on the center of my distaste. Anyway, last up, the Eagles and Glen Hazel.
Yes, if you remember the Hayes Eagles, these are the same ones. The nest got destroyed in 2024 and they moved across the Mon. So they're in Glen Hazel now. But the Eagle Cam there picked up some coyote howls recently. So maybe coyotes encroaching on the area. But that being said, the coyotes probably can't actually get the eagles or the eggs because the nest is too high. But I hope the baby birds aren't scared.
I saw some stills of this and I'm assuming it was mama bird or something like that. But the look in her eye of don't you dare. Which I feel is always an Eagles vibe.
Yeah,
that's just sort of the look on their face all the time. But it looked even more menacing than usual, especially in that nighttime camera where everything glows.
Oh, those make all animal eyes look really freaky.
Our city's outdoor music festivals and shows are coming back. We're starting to get little hints of things that are to come. So much is getting wrapped up with the NFL draft in April, but all of the other things that will come with Pittsburgh summer are starting to pop off too. So the first one is a new music festival in Frick Park that's going to benefit upstream Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's got a cute name. They're calling it Turn It Upstream. It's happening on Friday, June 26th. So a bit of a ways away, but tickets do go on sale mid-April. General admission is $20. And this is, like you said, Megan, outdoors. It's where Frick Park Hollow meets 9 Mile Run, sort of in Frick Park, but towards the Regent Square side. The festival is going to be hosted by Rick Seaback, and musical acts include Beauty Slap and Nashville. Both are our local bands. I'm not familiar with them, but really
Beauty Slumps
excited.
I've been listening to for solidly 12 years. Like I think they were CMU. They were definitely like college friends. But they play like brass, like big bumping. It's like a mix between a brass band and with a DJ. And it's like very bass heavy.
Seen them before. Okay.
Yeah. They've played a bunch of like big spaces. I think the most recent one I saw was Mr. Smalls, but I have seen them truly all over. Like they used to do Patonka Tonk and stuff like that too.
Very cool. I'm excited to get more into our local band scene. There's also food trucks, beer. There's also environmental activities and walking tours. I think maybe bring a flashlight for this. I know it'll be nice and bright in the summer, but with the trees and everything, as it gets later, I think maybe you want to have that.
Fair enough. And then a Pittsburgh favorite, the Clarks, are having a 40th anniversary show. It's amazing.
I did not know they were around for this long. This band I am very familiar with.
I didn't know they were old enough to have been playing together for 40 years. Granted, I don't think I've ever seen any of them up close, but I have heard them play many times. Like there for a while, every single time I went to a Penguins game, they were playing. And I don't think they do that all that often. I think it's like for special occasions, but they were always there.
That's really fun.
And of course, like they did the opening scene in this season of The Pit. So like they're getting like even at this stage, like some nice acclaim, even nationally, you know?
Mm-hmm. If you want to check out their anniversary show, that's going to be at Stage AE on June 13th. Tickets are available now. And Megan, I saw WPXI in their reporting. They said that the Clarks have played more than 2,000 live shows. That's a lot.
I believe it. I believe it. These dudes have gotten around. That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support us by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. All the details are at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow with more from around the city. We'll talk to you soon.
Moss said something that I thought was really poignant in our call, which was trans kids know who they are. And if your kid comes out to you, you should be proud of them because they know who they are, and they're making that choice for themselves. And I just love that sentiment.